Alright, here it is, November 30th, and this is actually the 30th coon of the year. Got her last night, early this morning. Not a bad size for here. My guess is probably one of this year's kits, I guess, if you will. Been having a real problem with the coons back here. This is the first year I've actually even had any problems. They started showing up and they almost destroyed this feeder. They definitely destroyed that one. They were tearing up the yard, tearing up the palm trees, and basically just starting to wreak havoc. Tried any number of things to discourage them from coming in the yard, and it just seemed like it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. Originally, yeah, I was just hucking rocks at them. That didn't discourage them. Put a bunch of lights out. This place is all lit up at night. Didn't deter them a bit. So then I went down and just bought myself a cheap 22 caliber beam and air rifle, single shot break barrel with a scope. Problem was with that, I was definitely hitting them. I mean, I could see the fur move when the pellet would strike, but they'd end up crawling back here in the woods and you could never find them. The undergrowth back there is just, it's unreal. And over here you can actually see, maybe you can, maybe you can't, the trail they were using. Where is it? Right here. That's the trail from the woods into the yard that they were taking. There's also another one back over there behind the shed. Big problem that I was seeing was I know I was hitting them, but they weren't all expiring in the yard. Like I said, they take off towards the woods. So I went to what I figured was the next best thing, and I bought myself a bunch of the Duke dog proofs, DPs. And from that point on, it was game over. At first, I was catching right at 3 a night, every night. Then once got rid of the main part of the herd, then it got kind of sporadic. It's been about 3 weeks since the last one I caught before this one, and it was another male. This one, it's a female. And I'm trying to thin the population out around here before they start actually breeding here, probably January or February, because I really don't want them inside my house, up in the attic, or over in the shed for that matter. It can cause an awful lot of damage and an awful lot of headache, and quite honestly, you know, I don't want to be shooting mama and have kits starve. So I'm trying to get rid of as many of them now as I can. Like I said, this is number 30. I started this about the last week of June, middle of July, and like I said, now it's the end of November. December starts tomorrow. So 30 of them in my own backyard is not that bad a record, I don't think. Now granted, I don't do this for sport. I don't do it because I get off on it. They're pests. I don't care if people think, oh, they're so cute. Well, at one point, I'm sure that somebody thought John Wayne Gacy, Jeffrey Dahmer, um, to name but a couple, probably thought they were cute too at one point. And look what they turned out to be. Look what kind of destruction they wreaked. So, she was dispatched this morning before I went to work. I don't think she had actually been in the DP for more than about 5 or 10 minutes. Because I had looked out this morning, didn't see anything, went to take care of some business, if you will. Looked out the back door again, and by God, she was out here, and she was putting up kind of a struggle. She really was. So I don't think she was in the trap more than about 5 or 10 minutes. And it seems, at least in my experience, when they haven't been in the trap that long, they're still really agitated. Of course, I'm sure scared. They're not happy. And so they move around. They can be kind of aggressive. But if they've been in the trap for a little while, they tend to just kind of lay down, and they're fairly docile. Like I said, she definitely was not happy this morning. Lunged at me a few times. Of course, chain's not that long, so she can't go that far. And I just stay out of range. She did growl some. She was upset. But ultimately, lead poisoning got her. I have found that if I hit them right about here, then it's typically lights out. I don't necessarily have to take another shot. I have shot them at long distance, well, semi-long distance, from back there at the porch to this area here. You're looking at roughly, what, 15 yards, maybe. But, yeah, it just, when I was just relying on the rifle, you know, I'd normally try for here. I mean, I tried between the eyes. That didn't seem to really have effect. They'd run off. I'd try them right behind the ear, right behind the eye, in front of the ear, about here. Same thing. In the ear, same thing. In the eye, same thing. Right about here seems to be the sweet spot. That or right back here at the back of the skull. Another sweet spot, if you can catch them, is right under the chin. That seems to be a real sweet spot. If they stand up and are looking around, if you catch them there, that seems to be a pretty good spot too. I have knocked more than a few off of this palm tree. 50-50. Some of them drop and that's where they flop. Some of them run off. Most of them have been ground shots. But like I said, that's one of the big reasons why I went to the DPs, was so I could make sure the animal was dispatched. Wasn't mortally wounded to suffer, you know, back in the woods. I'm not about that. They are pests, but it doesn't mean you have to be inhumane about eradicating them. You know, like I said, this is number 30 in roughly 5 months in my own backyard. Now, I'm not baiting them per se, and quite honestly, I just use marshmallows. As a matter of fact, you might be able to see that one over there. That's all I use.